All right, so here's the thing. Ever wonder why the US dollar is, well, the dollar? Not just in America, but everywhere. I mean, it's not the most valuable currency out there. The Kuwaiti dinar laughs at it. The euro is often stronger. But for some wild, almost bizarre reason, the entire planet seems to run on greenbacks. Why? How do we get here? Was this just some accident of history, or did someone, somewhere, actually plan this whole thing out? Because seriously, that's what it looks like. Let's rewind. Picture this. It's 1944. The world is quite literally on fire. World War II is still raging, but the Allied powers are starting to see the finish line. And these nations, 44 of them, knew something crucial. They knew that the last global dust-up, World War I, and the economic chaos that followed it, competitive currency devaluations, protectionist trade wars, ultimately the Great Depression, that stuff directly led to the current mess. They wanted to avoid that again. So they decided, hey, maybe we should all get together and build a new financial system from the ground up. And where did this historic powwow happen? Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, a small, seemingly insignificant resort town. But what went down there? It fundamentally reshaped global finance, crowning the US dollar as king. No exaggeration. Now, you had two main architects in this whole endeavor. On one side, the brilliant, almost legendary British economist John Maynard Keynes. His vision was pretty ambitious, an international reserve currency, let's call it Bancor, managed by a global central bank, a truly neutral supranational currency. Sounds fair, right? A level playing field for everyone. But then there was the American guy, Harry Dexter White, and White had a different idea, a much more, shall we say, America-centric idea. The US at this point was basically the only major industrial power whose infrastructure hadn't been obliterated by bombs. Their factories were humming, and crucially, they held 2/3 of the world's gold reserves. 2/3! That's an insane amount of leverage. So when these 44 nations sat down, the US came to the table with an offer they effectively couldn't refuse. White's plan was this. All other currencies would be pegged to the US dollar, not directly to gold, but to the dollar. And the dollar, and only the dollar, would be convertible to gold at a fixed rate of $35 an ounce. This was the gold exchange standard. Think about that for a second. Every single major currency suddenly had its value defined not by its own nation's gold reserves, but by its relationship to the dollar. And the dollar, well, the dollar had the gold. It was a classic move. The US essentially said, we'll back our currency with gold, and you all can back your currencies with our currency. Wild. This wasn't just some technical tweak. This was a monumental shift of power. It created this absolutely massive demand for US dollars globally. If you wanted to trade internationally, if you wanted stability, you needed dollars, period. This move established the dollar as the world's primary reserve currency, and it wasn't some organic evolution. It was a conscious, negotiated, and, let's be honest, strategically brilliant move by the United States. Now, fast forward a few decades. The Bretton Woods system, the one linking the dollar to gold, eventually broke down. Nixon famously closed the gold window in 1971. The US just couldn't maintain the dollar-to-gold convertibility given global economic pressures and increasing spending. But here's the kicker. The dollar's dominance? It didn't just survive that, it thrived. Why? How did a currency, no longer backed by gold, maintain its absolute chokehold on the global financial system? It boils down to a few mind-boggling factors, a kind of self-perpetuating cycle. First, network effect. It's like why everyone uses WhatsApp or Facebook, even if there are objectively better alternatives, because everyone else is on it. If the vast majority of international transactions, trade invoicing, and foreign exchange reserves are already in dollars, then you kind of have to use dollars too. It's inconvenient and costly not to. Half of all international trade invoicing is done in US dollars. Half. Seriously, that's a lot. Then there's stability and liquidity. The US economy is massive. Its financial markets are the deepest and most liquid in the world. You can always buy or sell massive amounts of US dollars or dollar-denominated assets without dramatically moving the market price. This makes it a safe haven, especially during times of global economic uncertainty. When the world freaks out, where does the money flow? To dollars. Always to dollars. It's perceived as the safest bet, the most reliable store of value, even when its actual purchasing power might fluctuate. And of course, we can't talk about dollar dominance without talking about commodities, specifically oil. Since the 1970s, many major oil-producing nations have agreed to price and sell their oil in US dollars. This petrodollar system means that any country wanting to buy oil, which is, every country, first needs to acquire US dollars. This creates immense, constant demand for the currency. It reinforces its reserve status in a way that's almost hard to comprehend. So, was it all secretly planned by the government? Well, secretly is a strong word. The Bretton Woods Conference itself was public, the negotiations were intense, but they weren't conducted in some shadowy backroom. However, to deny that the US government, specifically figures like Harry Dexter White, strategically designed a system that would place the US dollar at its absolute core would be naive. It wasn't an accident. It was the calculated outcome of a nation at the peak of its post-war power, leveraging its economic might to create a new global order. They knew what they were doing. They crafted a blueprint. And that blueprint, it's been incredibly effective. The dollar's international role is absolutely staggering. It's used in estimated 85% of all foreign exchange transactions, around 60% of all foreign exchange reserves held by central banks globally, dollars. International debt is primarily denominated in dollars. International loans, also primarily in dollars. It's a wildly disproportionate share for one country's currency. This isn't just about money, it's about power. It gives the US immense influence over global finance and trade. It means the US can run larger trade deficits because the world constantly needs and absorbs dollars. It gives the US incredible leverage through sanctions. It's the ultimate geopolitical cheat code if you think about it. It's like the foundations were laid in 1944 and then gravity just kinda took over. The system just kinda locked in. And even though there's constant whispers about countries trying to de-dollarize, trying to find alternatives, the inertia of this global financial machine running on dollars is just immense. It's an entrenched, fascinating, and frankly, a bit bonkers situation. So, next time you hear about the dollar, just remember, it didn't just happen, it was built, piece by piece, brick by dollar, at a tiny resort in New Hampshire 80 years ago. A truly wild story of how one currency became the world's financial backbone. If you found this breakdown even a little bit interesting, maybe hit that like button. And hey, for more deep dives into the systems that quietly run our world, consider subscribing. It really helps out, seriously.